Hi, I want to thank you for joining me again today. And I want to set you up for today's video because here's a spoiler. It's long. And I'll have to admit, I don't often watch long videos myself. Not this long, but occasionally I will if the value is there. And I believe it is for this one, and it's going to be worth your time to watch it. As we continue our work with Vin and Lisa Fetty and their worshiplive.com project. This time we're going even further into what they actually need to do to begin to capture people, get them to stay on their website, and begin to think in terms where they're inviting people to join them rather than just dumping all this information on them about what they want to do and what their aspirations are. And unlike many videos on training and giving you information on this, we're not just telling you about it. You're going to get to actually see us do it and how this translates as we work on their website. So I hope you'll invest the time to stay with us today to the end of the video, because I know you're going to learn a lot of things that you can not only apply to your online outreach for your business, but to every other area. And you're really going to start grasping the concepts that we teach. Thanks again for joining us today. Welcome. I'm Tim Buchanan.
I'm Rick Redding.
I'm Vin Fetty.
And I'm Lisa Fetty.
And welcome to another session of Values, People, and Purpose as we work with Vin and Lisa on their incredible calling and project of Worship Live. And we're going to get right into it as they've been doing a lot of work on their website after last week's session. And sounds like it was kind of blood, sweat, and tears.
It was.
Very much so.
A little frustrating at times.
Yeah, I think more frustrating than anything, just trying to unwind all the internal language that we had put together, because it sounded really good to us, but we weren't connecting with anyone. So we were frustrated at the fact that we had put all the time in, and also frustrated at the fact that we had to do it again. Well, that makes sense, you know.
Yeah, it does, but you have to think about it this way. It wasn't time wasted. Like I said last week, you built a beautiful framework for yourselves. Yeah. And on that framework, then what we're doing now is we're building that which everybody else will see. And then over time, as they become more involved and receive more and more from your ministry, they'll begin to recognize the incredible framework that's behind it and holding it up, and then they'll help build the framework for the future. So it wasn't time wasted. It was just it was awesome. It was just in the wrong place right now. And so
okay.
Don't consider a redo. That was a great, awesome start. It's what you already had is the hardest part to get people to be able to do, and you did that. So compared to that, this in the long run will be easy.
Yeah. Good.
It's new, so it's a little different.
Yes.
Yeah.
So okay, well, I'm going to go over to the website. Well, let's look at that, and you can start talking us through some of the things that you did.
Okay.
Here we go. All right.
So we did really two main pieces. There's other pieces that we're in the middle of doing. So what you see here is we wanted to put out in front the kind of the heart behind it, and not just our heart, but we really want other people to see the heart of where they're at. Like, what really matters, it's not just about Worship Live, but really what matters right now. And everybody that we talk to or we've come into contact with has seemed to and everything we've read is been people lack an experience with God. They walk away from God. They walk away. There's a denominational issue that they have, and they spent their whole life in Christianity, and they just walk away from it because they've never had an experience. They've never seen a mountain moved. And the purpose is they've never felt connected into whether it's their issue or it's somebody else's issue, who knows? But that's kind of, when I looked at it, that's how, this is me and how I felt coming in as just fresh eyes, saying, in Christianity, in music, in all of it, I want an experience. I want to feel that purpose. I want something to connect to, and I want to not be alone. So that's, and I feel like, Lisa, you can take it from there, but.
Well, thank you. Exactly. We really, we only actually just really got some of this put together in the last day or so, because we really, for the past like 4 or 5 days, have just been praying and talking about it and saying, how do we take this very broad vision with this grandiose language and really make it accessible? How do we say, oh, we have we had this tagline on the homepage that said, Worship Live is passionate about discipling music artists. Okay, that's wonderful. How are you going to do that? Where do you do that? What is the practice, the hands-on in that? And so we had to really go back and say, we've got this gaping hole. We have this cry of our heart, but there's no tangible way to access that for people. And so we started to really think, what is it that people are not connecting with in their own walk with God as a musician, as a songwriter. And what we've realized is, like Vin said, an experience with God. People know about God, people talk about God, they read about God, but they don't experience him many times. And then purpose, I love to play an instrument, or I love to sing, but what is the purpose in that? Having a purpose behind your gift. And then community, being able to come alongside, and like Vin said, I'm not alone. That the community part of the discipling one another, exhorting one another, encouraging one another. Those were the things we really felt Worship Live was called to do when you broke it down into a really simplistic message.
Okay, good. Well, walk us through then some of the ways you did that here on the website. I've got the homepage up right now.
Right, and right below that Learn More button is a white section, and we rewrote that too. Yes, there.
Taking
where it used to say, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to read it in case you couldn't on your phones.
Thank you.
Taking music artists into a deeper experience with God, connecting them with passionate purpose through a discipleship-driven community. I like that.
Before, it just said, we're passionate about discipling music artists.
Yay!
So, yay, good for you. How nice for you.
That's even different than what you had up earlier today.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
we've been working on this.
Well, that's awesome.
For days.
That is awesome. I love that.
Yay!
I know. I'm happy. I'm happy to hear that.
I mean,
that one sentence took us a week to write.
Yes, but it will change people forever.
Yeah, I hope so. I pray so.
What do you think about it, Rick?
I like it. I would change one word. Of course, I've got something to say. Taking, I almost feel like a hostage, and I would say maybe leading. Oh. If I was leading music artists into a deeper, or partnering, something like that. We're walking through it together. So that's other than that. No, I like it.
What do you guys think about that one word change?
Yeah, I think leading is, or partnering, it shows the kind of what we do, the authority part of what we're looking to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So taking this, again, we're like taking them. No, we're actually leading them. We're partnering with them. I like that.
Or
Yeah.
guiding,
Yeah.
leading,
Great.
guiding,
Guiding. Yeah. All those.
What was the other one?
guiding, leading, or guiding.
Partnering.
I like
leading,
that
partnering,
too.
guiding.
Yeah.
Yeah, guiding. Yeah, that's good too.
Mm.
No, that's awesome. See, you threw me a curveball here because I had printed out what was up earlier today, and I'm like, okay, and then I'm reading it, and I'm going, wait a minute, that's not in my notes. So what an awesome job! I love that.
Thank you. Surprise.
Thank you.
I love that.
We're taking
It's so
everything
good.
to heart.
It's so good. As a former teacher of middle school children, not Christians, I just want to tell you guys congratulations. You really did accomplish something in my absence. I was really worried about that.
I wonder if the two are related at all, Rick.
Thanks, Rick.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, you came back just in the nick of time for that one keyword, Rick. That was correct.
That's
We
awesome.
did miss you last week. We're glad to have you back.
Yes,
Yes,
we
we
are.
did miss you.
Okay, were
definitely
there
missed
any
you.
other big ones that you made? I mean, that one's monumental. Any others?
So we're taking a kind of a piece of what we have in MAC, Music Artists for Change. We want that to develop. We don't want to say, this is what we're doing and this is how we're doing it and build an encampment around it. We want it to come out of a direction that we are going to go in, that we were looking to go in. We need your advice and your guidance, both of you, on this, is that we don't have any way to get to know the music artists or the songwriters or all of them. The only way that to get to know them is to bring in, and we want to bring in musicians and songwriters and actually podcast with them to have them break apart the songs that they've written and what it means and how did that song come to be, and bring them into the experience, others into the experience of songwriting, into the experience of music, so that we have now building a community based on all of it. So where MAC is, like, MAC's changing. Like we've taken a look at MAC, it's changing. We've kept with the Johanna House, we've kept with all the other ministry type work. Something else is coming down the road, but it's not ready yet. What we found is that through everything that we broke apart and had to do and look at, it made us pull back and realize that all this internal language is not doing anyone any good. It's not really showing what we've done or what we're doing, or having them come alongside of us, or that passions, like you said, the impact into their lives and how passion intersects with their passion.
Okay, let me interrupt you just a minute. For those who are watching this don't know, you're referring to MAC as Music Artists for Change.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. And we're going to spend just a little bit more time here. You actually literally just took off running because you have already figured out for yourselves some things I was going to talk to you about today. And you're just dead on target. I mean, I fed you a little bit and you're just off and running. So, wow,
That's right.
I'm so proud. My babies are doing wonderful.
It was a really hard week, Tim. I have to be very honest.
Yeah.
I think that we really, like I said to Vin, we recently had watched The Princess Bride, and there's this line in the movie I went back to the beginning, Vizzini, and we really had to go back to the beginning when God gave us this call and really tear apart what was God saying. What does that look like? Are we adding to what God said? Are we being effective to put things in the right order to accomplish what God said? We have these wonderful ideas. We wanted to be world changers, and we had all the framework for MAC, and we said, but is it the right framework? Are we trying to build this portion of Music Artists for Change without having the heart of the music artist, without finding out their journey and their story and what's important to them? What do they need to be music artists that affect change. And I think that's where we really started to say, we maybe need to take a step back. We need to actually start to develop those relationships with them and let Mac come forth and be born out of the heart of the music artists that have this passion for Christ and kind of just need the guidance to know how to direct it and to come together. And what does that mean?
Yes and yes. I think all those things can coincide, and that's coming right to where we're going today, and that's the topic of where your passions intersect, and we're going to talk about that a little bit. And you guys are just really setting a fire with this. This is awesome. You're thinking exactly about things you ought to think about. Let's go back just a little bit. Let's complete the work you did this week. And again, yes, it is difficult, but those that are willing to put that effort into it, that's what makes all the difference. A lot of them just throw something up there and go, hey, here I am, folks. I got a great idea. Come find me. And so you took a servant's heart approach to it. And that's what I said last week. A lot of people say, I'm not doing all that. And it doesn't take off. So that's kind of the refining by fire, which you've proved yourselves. I want to look at one thing real quick here on it that can be one more minor change. What we're going to do is we're going to take two changes you made and we're going to combine them together and make a really powerful change. And let's go back to the screen share on this. There we go. All right, here's your website, and you see me looking offside. I'm looking at a side monitor. I've got on a side monitor here, but I like what you changed right here. I love that worship picture that you have there. That's awesome, and I love what you wrote down here. Here's something. I'm going to give you three different examples here that'll kind of put this into context for you. Right now, right up here, you have worship, live, experience, purpose, community, learn more. Okay. Let's say that you had a business and you put together an awesome sign. And right in front of your business, right next to the street, you put this sign that said, our main sign is around the corner. Go look at it. Okay.
Yes.
And then let's say that if you're going to send someone an invitation to a party you were putting on, and you sent them a little note and said, hey, can I send you an invitation to a party? Just send them the invitation, okay? And then the last one is you wouldn't want to knock on a front door to have someone open it. You go in and you walk 5 feet, and now you got another front door that you have to knock on to go on. It's kind of where you're at right now. In other words, it's this is your invitation. Let's connect. Okay. So when they come here, they see worship live, and then it's learn more. And I know there's some that have the concept of, well, get little yeses, but this isn't the time. You've got seconds, literally seconds to hook them.
Okay.
They go, whoa, I got to spend a few minutes here and check this out. There's your awesome, incredible hook right there that you guys wrote. That is people read that and they'll go, wow, that's a passion intersection that you want to create. So here's what I would do. I would take the worship live, experience, purpose, and community, and I'd put it right up here at the top by your logo. All right?
Okay.
And then I would take this incredible statement that you wrote. If you want to change taking to leading or guiding, take that and put it right on top of this picture. If you want to put it at the top here so that the people with their worship shows, however you want to put it right there, because on my laptop and on a mobile too, that picture is what shows up. And that's where you want them to glance at that and go, hey, this is it. Your website is an invitation to a party. So you got to get the invitation right now, because they don't know what they don't know. Worship live says nothing to them right now. most
Mhm.
of them. Okay.
Mhm.
But man, that statement right there, leading music artists into a deeper experience with God, connecting them with passionate purpose through a discipleship driven community. Wow. That's like, okay, I got to check this side out. And then instead of learn more, I'd come up with something just a little bit different, like, hey, I'm in, or tell me more, something like that. That's a deal. We got to remember that these aren't these aren't Yellow Pages ads, and they're not billboards. This is at your intersection. This first thing they see is going to be love at first sight or not. And man, that's huge today online. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
It does.
So you got two beautiful parts right there. Bring them together. Bring them together. Okay. And you've got it nailed right there for them to land. And then let's go down here a minute. You've got the Songwriters Conference and the Kauai House and the MAC. And you hit right on what I said. It's more than anything, Lisa, you talk some about this. More than anything right now, starting its focus. It's kind of like when you first learned to drive. I remember back in the dark ages taking driver's ed. And the driver's ed instructor would first work everybody. It was a great big school, so we had a huge parking lot. He'd take us to the parking lot for a few days before he felt safe taking us out on the road. And I remember one girl that she was driving along and through the parking lot, and she was doing great. She was using her signals and doing everything. And the instructor said, turn on your windshield wipers. And she slammed on the brakes, stopped dead in the middle of the road, turned on the windshield wipers, and took off again. Well, that same gal today is probably running down the freeway at 75 miles an hour, texting on her phone, trying to touch up her makeup, and having a nice cup of Starbucks that she's hitting all while driving with her knee. You know, she's good to go. And, you know, it's just a matter of when we're first starting anyway, we really have to focus on a few things. Once you're rolling and you begin to build an economy of scale, you begin to get more people involved in it. It gets momentum. People want to help out. Then these other things are going to come. So I had already decided about Kauai and everything. You're right. Later. That can be prayer requests for grow. That can be with your really closest supporters and backers. But maybe that part of it we're going to forget, but we're not going to forget all of it. We'll get to that here pretty soon too. So great job on all that. You guys just really hit the nail on the head well today.
Thank you.
Hey, Tim.
Thank you.
Sure.
I just, you know, from sitting here just watching and listening to, can you put that landing page back up?
Yes, I can. I have the technology. I've even figured out how to use it. Okay, here we go.
Yep. You know, where they're all praising the Lord.
Yes.
Okay.
You know, yeah, that one right there. You know, and I always just go back to it. You know, that seizing the darkness. You know, I just, you know, I think somebody's going to do a movie on that. You know, one day too. But, you know, so darkness and light. If I was going to add anything to what you said about, you know, putting that, you know, guiding them, that statement, and I'm just a thought there is maybe in the dark area, putting that there, because really the focus is, you know, I take my glasses off to look at this, and I just see, you know, to myself, millions of people in front of the Mount of Olives, raising their hands, worshiping God, and Jesus descending to the earth. And so it's kind of a blur where on the top side where it's all light. But I just thought, you know what you're wanting to do is guide them out of the darkness into the light, right? Is that right, Vin, Lisa?
Yeah, I mean that's what we want to see.
So
them.
maybe it's just something in the background. But I would put that writing in white letters or something on the bottom. Light in the dark. So just a thought, but I just kept looking at that, and I'm just going, it's a subliminal message, and I'm with you, Tim. I love that picture, and that really speaks loudly about what worship life is all about. So I don't know, because you said you maybe put it all over it or put it on top of it or something.
No, I'd put, what I meant was I'd put up here in the lights part or put in the dark. I think if I was going to do anything, you'd probably want their statement up here so people see it right away. And
Okay.
you want to outline the letters to see it. Down here, if I did anything, probably I would find a very powerful verse that relays that sentiment about seizing the darkness, and I would put that verse down here.
Oh, good one. Yeah.
Put a passage. I mean, I'm sure you have some that you'd love to use there.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
Okay. Well, that's awesome work, guys. Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm blown away what you did.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go on to what you were talking about, and that's intersecting those passions. And you did that. You did that exactly, because they're going to come to that, and they're going to find out that here's some different passions. They're going to love music. They're going to be a music artist, and they're going to go, wow, this is a site devoted to music artists. One area of passion for intersection. A deeper relationship, the experience with God. That's another connection point. You've got some great passion intersections here. And so you just kind of jumped right over that step. You just accomplished it. But more than anything, for our audience, I want to talk about it. And you mentioned community. That's another big passion point. A lot of people do begin to feel isolated in their calling. They begin to feel discouraged sometimes. Building these communities is so awesome, and that's going to be a great part of what you're doing. So the next thing in that you've started talking about is the steps, starting to take steps. Now, we've got to build we've got to build steps that will work for people. So often, like last week, you were at this mountaintop with all this stuff, or way down the road, like we talked about, yelling back at them and they couldn't hear you. And just here's some things I'm going to put up that people can download just on this passion. Your passion has to have an exciting universal appeal to others. Your passion has to have a perceived value and hope to others. You've accomplished that. You have to know where your passions and theirs converge. You accomplish that. You have to be willing to give your passion away. And that's what you did there too. Now we'll go to the steps. And this is where we're going to start building some of the actionable items. And here it is. It has to be, here's 4 things, and we're going to put these up for people to download. It has to be simple enough for them to see it. It has to be close enough for them to reach it. It has to be clear enough for them to understand it. And it has to be short enough for them to endure it. What do I have to do next? All right. And that's what you want. That's where that call to action right there is the next step. Now, these are going to go from smaller to bigger to bigger to bigger, just like you're doing the same thing. At first you started this and you're like, yikes. And now in the last couple of days, you've made this incredible leap forward in your whole understanding of what you're trying to accomplish here, right? So now we're going to start doing it with them, and we go back. Where do they go and what happens from this? Now, on the website, I'm going to go back to screen share of that again. And I'm going to do this without any help, and see if I can find this out. Okay, I've got join Mac here. That wasn't what I was looking for. Don't help me. Don't help me. Okay. Now you see where I'm at?
Yes.
You see what it took for me to get there? I actually, even after looking at your website a lot, I actually did not think that this was up and running yet. And yet you do have it here.
Mm.
Problem is, this to me is one of the incredible places to start this. Have you had some songs submitted yet?
Yes, we
Okay.
have.
Okay. And so here's this great stuff. All right. This banner right here that you have at the top. If that's one of the big things you've got going right now, that needs to be, when you move this up, it needs to be the very next thing, or it needs to be here somewhere where they can click it. Maybe have two buttons here that they can go right to that, and they're going to go, oh, a competition, because everybody loves their own songs and everybody's proud of them. And they want to get them out there and have people listen to them. And right there, they've got a way to be involved. They've got a way that starts bringing them back to your website. The problem is it's not close enough for them to touch it yet. See, it's simple enough for them to see it. I didn't see it, and I just actually stumbled on it. Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah, it does.
Okay. And so you start with, where's that first point of contact? That competition would be great. I mean, you're the social media master, Vin. I mean, that song competition would be incredible. Close enough for them to reach it. You could also have a quick button, listen to this week's submissions. Listen to our latest submission. They can listen to it. They can click on and then go, wow, I can send my friends here. My song got picked to be on the top of the list here. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
It does. Yeah, totally.
And is that part of Mac?
It's not part of Mac.
Okay. So what is this a part of?
It's really a part of getting closer to the songwriters so that they can share what's on their heart and other people can be blessed by it. And through it, we can do some good.
All right. So let's go back here. So you've got Music Artists for Change. And music is a discipleship-based collaborative ministry. All right. Connects groups of artists for the purpose of developing original Holy Spirit-inspired music that brings about great change. I mean, that is absolutely right next door to your song competition. I mean, that's what Mac is about, is creating the music. These are people that are already creating music. This is your audience that's making the submissions. How do you begin to connect them? And you're going to walk them through. So you sit down, and this is your homework this week. We've got something where we alert them that we have shared passion right on the homepage. They look at that and they go, yeah, this is it. You've got something that they immediately know about a song competition, and some catchy button. Put catchy things on your butt. Okay. And instead of unsubscribe, put leave me alone, something. I mean,
yeah. Okay.
But something that makes people more apt to click it and would be more in line with most of your younger viewers. And then you're going to start building a road. And that's what I want you to just put out there today. A road for your ministry and a road for the people that you're trying to reach. And so their welcome mat is right there on the homepage. You've got that, just incredible. We lost video on you, Vin.
Oh, you did? Oh, I'm sorry.
And so then, I don't know, go back to the other picture. Let us pick. No, you want to begin to build a road for them. And this roadmap that you have is like, and I'm just throwing it, you know what the roadmap needs to be. I'm giving you an example. They come to the homepage, and one of the great things that we can put out on social media, all kinds of places, is the song competition. And so what's our next step from that homepage to get them right to that, and then build steps through that page. In other words, you want to just bring them through. And then how do we go from there to start exposing them to collaboration and community? Well, you could have people rate their song and leave feedback, leave comments. I'm sure you'll get a few trolls, but if they're going to be in the music industry and do original composition, they're going to have to get used to haters. And maybe that's something that you can moderate, and you could just put on there, you know what, these comments are intended to encourage. If you can't, and then put Philippians up there where it says whatever's good, whatever's profitable, because I did that for my master students on the discussion boards. I said, you know what, we're all professionals here. You guys play nice, or I'm going to step in. And they did. So, just remind people, no trolls allowed. But then encourage them in that then to share contact info, or maybe you could create message boards where they could discuss their songs and tweets. All these kind of things where now you've stepped them from submitting their song to hearing a little feedback to starting to have some discussions about their song to eventually then encouraging them to help others with their songs. And you're just walking them down this path to where now they're like, oh, I got to check and see if there's any new songs this week and see if there's any way I can and help them. Or, hey, I want to check and see if anybody else listened to my song, gave me some ideas. So kind of like you guys were. I'm so frustrated. I don't know what to do. I think it's a good song, but something's missing. And you'll find in all things, your website, your ministry, people's songs, all this stuff, you'll more often than not find it's really not that big of a thing that people have to change that makes all the difference in the world. So does that make sense? How you need to start moving them?
Yeah, it does make sense. I think, even with what we went through with Mac, trying to figure that out and saying, okay, what does Mac really look like? What's, how do we take the songwriting competition and keep it alive? And what do we really want to, showcase about the ministry, or showcase about what we're doing, or what we want to bring people in to do? And that was part of the discussion Lisa and I were doing. And we're like, okay, Mac's really not mature, and it's really, it is all internal, what, all the flowery stuff that, personally, even I wanted to do. And I think it's taking that Mac and having it kind of be created by the movements of these other pieces, not trying to create Mac. Like, we have a lot of great ideas for Mac, but we don't yet have the intersect yet for that. We have, I don't know, Lisa, you could probably chime in on it.
Well, we think that, like we had talked about, going and doing more podcasting and building relationship with people in the music industry that are the ones writing the music, that are playing the songs, getting their feedback and having them identify along with us, where's the vacuum? What's missing in community of the people who are writing the music? What's missing for them as a music artist? What's missing as far as feeling like you are using your skill for purpose? You could be a worship leader who gets up every week and leads worship, but you feel like we know what difference am I making when they're not seeing that. And so trying to identify and have even those people, as they're sharing, help us identify really what Mac should be and how it should take shape. We had, this wonderful idea that people are going to love to collaborate together and write new music and have new types of music come forth from collaborating with people they haven't or wouldn't maybe have collaborated with in the past. And then they're going to love to give those collaborations to Worship Live as an offering so that we can then earn, proceeds from that when we release them that got sewn back into ministry work. And, everyone feels like they should use their gift to, give back to the ministry. But that might not be the case. And so really what should it be,
Well, first you need the exposure, then you build credibility, and then you eventually get to profitability. And
right.
So right now, build that process, because again, you've got lots of amazing pieces. You just need to connect the dots in the right order here. And it's kind of like playing Mexican trained dominoes or something. Got to get all the things matched up right. But I think what you've got here, if you start the song competition, progress them, identify the steps, progress them towards that to where they actually get into a full collaboration. Once they hit Mac as a milestone that this person is a collaborator, and if you want to set some different milestones for them that they've contributed X amount or whatever, or maybe you don't want to put anything in there, but somewhere along the way, then you offer them to go the next step to discipleship, to where you constantly keep putting that in and around the song competition of discipleship. That can be in the form of online courses. That can be in the form of one-on-one discipleship. Just see where it goes. But then out of that, then eventually they become disciplers. Now, another thing that you can do in this is you begin to put the boundaries around these different steps and what they're going to be. If you want people to have a sense of urgency in this, then you have to put constraints on it so they have a sense of urgency. So what you do is you can run a song competition, and you're going to have to scale this according to the number of songs that you have. As you grow, it will get a shorter time frame. Okay, just as an example, the song of the month. Submit your song this month, and we're going to put the song of the month. You might eventually have your own online radio station where all you play is people that have done that. People would love to get some airtime on their rate for their new song somewhere. It's like you said, Vin, come back to me when the radio stations are going to do that to them. They're going to be like, yeah, nice, great, love you. You know what? When you're worship leader to church of 10,000 or you've sold so many records, come back and you could put up a radio station for people that submit songs through you. Out of that, then, Lisa, that could be advertised, supported. You could then say that we will, if your song wins the weekly, the monthly, the quarterly, whatever you set up, depending on the number of your submissions. Because if it's monthly, they'll be like, oh, man, I got to hurry up and get my song done so I can get it in this month. I think it's a winner this month. But then out of that, you can feature it on your social media. Have some return value for them winning it, other than just, well, wow, I won it and it's on their website and 12 people saw it this month. I mean, start building it up. The other thing that you can do is begin to put together some great interviews with people who are working on their music that you could offer up to radio stations and say, hey, here's some content for you. You could also, and this is what I was looking at as far as your annual conference that you're saying, maybe we're not there yet. start with what you have, but set yourself that when we have X number of people that have submitted songs, we're going to launch a virtual online. That's the cheapest thing that you can do right now. We're going to do an online conference. And you ought to be able to go find enough people. We had a guy that, are you familiar with the iWorship videos?
Yeah, I've seen them before.
Okay.
Yeah.
The guy who created all those came and sat down with our church and had a wonderful conversation and, you know, offered his time, his expertise, his incredible knowledge of worship music. You could get people like that who would volunteer for that first online conference that your people could come. Have music companies come and say, you know what, I've got 250, 500 music writers signed up for this. Come and make a presentation, what you expect when they submit a song, I mean, there's so many things you can do out of this, but your launch point, I agree, is the music competition. Build that, foster it, really make it fun for them, make it something they get something back out of it. Use that as a next stepping stone to collaboration by building discussion boards under the songs. And I know you've got the smarts for all this, man. And just let it start growing.
Okay.
So can you guys build a roadmap and build a roadmap all the way through for right now? Build your roadmap all the way through your first online virtual conference.
Okay.
And then, you know, you'll start with the you'll start with the homepage, how you get them to the competition, doing exactly on that competition page, the beautiful work you did on that homepage. Get them involved in it. Let them know, how is this going to help you? Don't talk about it mechanically, but you know what? People need to hear your music, and you need to get feedback, and you need to be in discussions. As iron sharpens iron, you know. Mm-hmm. And as iron sharpens iron, so heavy metal Christian sharpens heavy metal Christian. I don't know. You know?
Yeah.
You can begin to break up the competition into genres after a while. I mean, there's so many things you can do with that they would just love to get some feedback, and they would love to have someone that's listening to it and playing it. So, and just work that all the way through the discipleship of being discipling others. Once you go off on that discipleship parallel line, then how do you build that out? Get it up to that first competition, because then what you can do, or that first online conference that you have, then what you could actually do is take some of the people that you're discipling and funnel them back in to do different sessions on that. I mean, there's so much you can do with this. I'm just looking at it as like, well, I found this trunk of hidden treasure that Vin and Lisa have. They don't know what's here. It's awesome. So, no, it's great. It's great.
That's cool. I like that a lot. Yeah. Okay.
So, you're good to go to build your roadmap.
Hey, Ben?
Okay. All right. Yes.
So tell me once again, with Mac, was that inspired by Rich Mullins? Is that where his connection was with you guys?
Rich Mullins really came in from the standpoint of the Mobile Music Initiative. We're going and discipling, being a discipler that goes out and then also does these mobile music camps for kids and wherever the need is, I guess you would say. So that's kind of what he would do. He would go in, he would play, he would bring his songs, he would talk, he would disciple those that were there, and then he would go and do something locally wherever he could, really. I mean, he would hit a church, he would hit a reservation, and he would just go and do his thing, right? So Mac was kind of born out of just that collaboration. Like, we're so disjointed through our denominations, and we have so many different philosophies. But when it comes to music, the music has to speak the same message that Jesus spoke, and the same message that, even it doesn't have to be from a word only based message. It can be from a hope message. But yeah, so that was the whole thing out of Mac, is we want to really see Mac grow into a collaboration, but really a discipleship group. You know, like not just everybody's going to be in a Mac group. It's going to be more like, hey, these are those who that disciple, and then through discipleship, then they can become disciplers and come into Mac. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, as I was listening to what Tim was talking about, building that road, you know, I was just kind of imagining, you know, that maybe Rich might be the avatar, or you know, you can do these emojis that look like supposedly look like yourself, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe, you know, if you could do something like with a collaboration. You already contacted Rich's brother, right?
That's right. Yeah.
I wonder if he would be willing to do a podcast to talk about what, maybe we'd like Rich to be a part of this, even though he's gone on to be with the Lord, that he could walk them through going from the songwriters contest down into Mac, and then down into mobile music, which would be the next step out of that. But the collaboration, you know, I just remember when he was up at you know, Hills Alive, and, you know, at KSLT, you know, doing concerts up there, and his heart really was to Native Americans. But even more than that, he was a songwriter. I mean, he wrote so many songs for other big artists that he didn't, you know, he didn't sing those songs, and so it came later. And I would think he would be really good, and some disciples of his. You know, that maybe we could find those, you know, maybe just like at KSLT, maybe we get a hold of them and talk to John Derrick. He would remember it. You know, he's the voice of that 5-state area, and he would probably enjoy it. But, you know, maybe, you know, walking people through, you know, you've got some other contacts, Paul, somebody, you know, too, that you've talked to a couple of other guys who've been down this road, who might want to invest some time into helping rookie songwriters, you know, kids for one. I was thinking of kids in school, or kids in college, or kids, you know, at the coffee house, or, you know, that you might be able to attract to this, you know, who'd like, you know, to, you know, be able to express themselves somewhere, you know. And it's kind of like publishing, you know. And my son Joshua, you know, he's written 3 novels, but couldn't get anybody to publish them. And so where he just finally just said, nope, I'm not going to do it. I'll just self-publish on Amazon, do it myself. And it was just, you know, so I think there's a whole lot of pent-up demand out there. And so when you said you've already got some submissions, that's really exciting. You've got some traction. So maybe that road might already be there, and you're going from, you know, the front page, then, you know, we're going to guide you through. And so you're starting to guide them down into Mac, and Mac, you might have that avatar of Rich Mullins saying, you know what, I take it from somebody who's been down this road already many times, and other people have sung my songs that I wrote that God gave me. You know, and that ended up resulting in a full-blown music ministry of his own. And so, I mean, he might be just a thought of something like that.
No, it's a good thought.
Good idea. Good idea. Well, okay, we're about out of time here, so we better wrap this up. Any last questions on what you're going to be working on this week?
No, it's a lot.
Not for me.
I was excited to see what you came up with this week. After seeing what you came up with, I'm really excited. So, he's on. So, but enjoy it. Enjoy it. It's just the Lord taking you exactly where you desired to go. So don't stress it. Just go along and enjoy it. Okay.
Appreciate that, Tim.
All right.
That's awesome.
Well, for
Thanks,
Value
guys.
People and Purpose, I'm Tim Buchanan.
I'm Rick Redding.
I'm Vin Fetty.
And I'm Lisa Fetty.
Thank you for joining us, and hope you have a wonderful week. And be sure to subscribe so you don't miss what they do next week. You'll be surprised and amazed just like I am. Take care. Bye-bye.